Hello guys, I am Yogesh Todkari. Today I will be summarizing the book Life's Amazing Secrets, authored by Gaur Gopal Das, one of the most loved and widely followed monks of our times. Let's start with an introduction of the book. To live a happy life with integrity and with balance is one of the life's amazing secrets which is revealed within this book. It's really necessary to find balance in life. Not too much, not too little. Just as a car balances on four wheels, we must balance the four crucial areas of our life: our personal life, our relationships, our work life, and our social contribution. In order to find purpose of our life, spirituality is really necessary. As Lord Buddha said, just as a candle cannot burn without fire, we cannot live without a spiritual life. First topic is forgetting the keys. As you become successful, do not forget the keys to happiness. Author Gaur Gopal Das lived in Mumbai as a monk for 22 years. He had learned not only ancient Eastern wisdom for his enrichment, but also learned how to share its practical application with the world. People used to attend his lectures and regularly invite him to have lunch at their homes, but he refused the offer in order to stay regulated in his own monk habits. After months of pleading, author hesitantly accepted an invitation to go to Mrs. Iyer's home. Hari Prasad and Lalita Iyer's house was situated in a high rise in elegant Worli. It was a rich apartment with a cooling breeze from the Arabian Sea, and Mr. Iyer lived on 28th floor. Mrs. Iyer served hot dosas and other preparations to Mr. Iyer and author. Around the plate there were 3 spoons laying in front, 2 knives to the right, and 4 forks to author's left. Author was confused how to eat dosa with knives and fork, but still he attempted to cut the dosa. It was an abnormal situation for author. Mr. Hari Prasad Iyer smiled warmly seeing at author, rolled up his sleeves and started eating with his hands, signaling author that it was okay to do the same. Mr. Iyer didn't seem to have an air of arrogance around him. Author asked Mr. Iyer how he was so humble, even he is so rich being a director of a multinational company. Mr. Iyer said he grew up in a small village outside Chennai. His father worked in a textile factory. His father worked very hard to raise Mr. Iyer and his siblings. His mother was a housewife and counselor of him and his siblings in hard times. His mother made Mr. Iyer's education her top priority as she wanted Mr. Iyer and his siblings to live a better life. He may be humble due to his simple Indian parents who raised him with so much love. Mr. Iyer told author that both Mr. and Mrs. Iyer were trying to help as many as possible before they can think of having children. They want to empower people to be successful. Author was pleasantly surprised at how cultured and courteous this couple was. Mrs. Iyer's world-class sambar also symbolized the warmth and love between them. Author thanked Mr. and Mrs. Iyer for wonderful lunch and said he need to leave as he had meetings at ashram in an hour. Author then asked Mr. Iyer if he can call cab for him. Mr. Iyer said that he will drop Author to ashram in his own car. Mrs. Iyer thanked Author back for the visit with a smile, but Author noticed that she was holding her stomach as though she was not feeling well. Author thought nothing of it. Author and Mr. Iyer rushed to the elevator and reached parking floor. Once Mr. Iyer got out from the elevator, he remembered that he had forgotten the car keys. Mr. Iyer goes back to his home at 28th floor with elevators and gets car keys back. Author then remembers his own story and asks Mr. Iyer if he can tell him a story. Mr. Iyer nodded yes as they started their short journey. Author started narrating his story that he and three of his friends decided to take a trip to New Delhi together. They had booked a hotel, but little they realized that their room was on 18th floor of a high-rise building. One day they visited Lotus Temple, Chandni Chowk, and came back to hotel after sunset and found that elevator had broken down. So Author and his friends decided to go by staircase. They told each other jokes and stories, made each other laugh. Once they reached 15th floor, one of their friends became silent. So remaining friends asked him reason for it. He said he had forgotten keys in an auto rickshaw. Author and his friends' faces dropped down, but using all their power of restraint, they started their journey back down to reception, hoping hotel had some spare keys. Author tells Mr. Iyer only years later did he understand the lesson behind this story. Author remembered this when Mr. Iyer forgot his car keys. Mr. Iyer had made incredible progress in life, from studying in prestigious institutions around the world to having a loving partner, having seven-figure salary, and came a long way. People only dream kind of success Mr. Iyer has achieved. Author says to Mr. Iyer that he is happy that Mr. Iyer haven't forgotten the keys to happiness as he moved up on the ladder of success. As a society, it's all too easy to focus on our external achievements and forgot to access whether we are happy with the state of our life. Author is happy that Mr. Iyer had not neglected that aspect of his life. Mr. Iyer uneasily proclaims, "I suppose so." He wasn't smiling anymore. Author sensed his change of tone in his voice. There was something Mr. Iyer wanted to say, but Author didn't know exactly what. Second topic is seeing beyond the obvious. Behind these smiles, everyone is going through personal struggles we know nothing about. When Harry, that is Mr. Iyer, fell silent, Author thought of himself if he said something wrong to Harry. After 2 minutes, Author tries to break silence and asks Harry where did he buy this car. Author was just trying to change the subject to something more palatable. Harry replied that he needed to buy a car after he sold the Mercedes. He and his wife were taking cabs everywhere for the first few weeks. One day, when Harry, along with his wife, were visiting some of his friends in Juhu, the cab stopped at a traffic light directly outside Lexus showroom. That's when Harry, that is Mr. Iyer, saw this car. He loved the car at first sight. Author asked Harry This car seems like your prized possession. Harry nodded repeatedly. There are not many things in the world that can make you happier than a car like this. Look at the detail of the readings on dashboard, the feel of steering wheel. It can do 0 to 100 at the same time in Mercedes car. Car suddenly halted and Harry can see traffic had built up ahead. Harry was surprised as he never seen traffic on this road. He was disappointed. He said to Arthur, "Even in my new car, I am stuck. It doesn't matter how fast it can go. I am stuck. Why do I feel so stuck? Is it the fault of the people in the cars ahead of me? They caused the traffic? Or did I buy wrong car? Should I have brought a motorcycle? Is it too late to buy a motorbike?" Arthur sensed that something is wrong with Harry. Arthur put his hand over Harry's shoulder. Harry's head dropped, and Arthur saw few lonely tears leave Harry's sorrowful eyes. Harry said sorry to the author. Harry said that he don't know what had came over him. Author replied to Harry, "Don't be sorry. We can all feel stuck at times. Why do you feel stuck?" Harry said he had everything he had dreamed of, but within himself he had a sense that something is missing. Harry continued, he started at IIT Bombay. He never wanted to study engineering in first place, but his parents wouldn't take no for an answer. His parents used to say, engineering is where the money is. If you get into IIT, life will be yours. If Harry questions his parents, they would make him feel guilty by saying how much they did for him and how much hard they worked for him and how he shouldn't let them down. Harry's parents were living their ambitions through Harry. His father was fascinated by the updating software in the textile equipment at the factory. So his father wanted Harry to be one of those superheroes who could solve any technical problem. Author then asked Harry, "You may not be a software engineer, but you seem to be doing well now. Aren't you? You went to Harvard?" Harry replies, "Harvard was me rebelling. He had to get away from his parents and siblings. He wanted to live his own life. Harry took the Harvard MBA admission just to get away." Author interrupts and asks him, "So was Harvard the solution?" Harry says, "No, I completed the course, but it wasn't my calling." One great thing Harry said he done is to meet Lalita, who studied medicine and wanted to become a pediatrician. Harry was little jealous of Lalita at times because at that time only he realized he also wanted to do medicine. But it was too late. He didn't have time and money to study medicine. He never said this thing to Lalita and both returned to India after studying for their marriage. Harry continued, his marriage was amazing. It started amazingly. He got a good job with six-figure salary, but with stress and long hours of working, which had weakened their relationship. Harry and Lalita had very little time for each other. They used to fight, and it got so heated that one day Lalita said that she wanted to get a divorce. How can love that started so pure evaporate so quickly? With Harry's status, who will believe he was not happy? Harry was honest. Author thought that we have mastered how to look successful, but not how to organize our lives so that we feel successful. But author didn't say anything, instead tried to understand Harry's point. Third topic is the journey begins. Having a friend to listen to your problems and discuss them with you is the beginning of a solution. Author wanted to say so much as Harry spoke his inner turmoil, but author remembered his training as a monk. Our silent presence can be more powerful than a million empty words. After hearing Harry's sayings, author said to Harry, sorry to hear that you are going through all this. Thank you for trusting a monk like me and sharing this. Even when you just speak to someone about your problems, don't you feel lighter? Do you not feel hope that things will get better? Harry looked at Arthur and said that he wants to get out of this mess, but he don't see a way out without ruining his life completely. Harry thinks as of now he's 40 years old. It's too late to make any dramatic changes. He asked Arthur what he should do now. Arthur replied to Harry, I am not your guru. I am your friend. We must make our own decisions and I can only help you within my capacity. Thousands of people are going through similar struggles as you are going through. Do you see how many people are stuck in this traffic jam? They are all like us. They may be in different cars, but they are all stuck. We all have three things in common. We are all stuck, we all have a journey to complete, and we all have a destination. Now, imagine traffic jam cleared up. We would all be free to complete our journey in peace and reach the destination that we choose. Harry replies to Arthur, what's that got to do with my situation though? Author Gaur Gopal Das replied, there is traffic jam within our minds, and that traffic jam is stopping each one of us from reaching our true potential. If we know how to clear this disruption, then no fumes of insecurity causing us to cough, no one honking at us, distracting us from what's important, and plenty of fuel to sustain us so that we can live a life worth living. Author continued, the process to clear the traffic within my mind started 22 years ago. Author regrets the pain he caused to his parents when he ran away from home to become a monk. It was then when he learned about the wheels of life. All the cars around you have four wheels equally weighing down on the axle. The loss of air in any one of these wheels can slow you down in reaching your destination. The loss of one can be fatal. Therefore, it's imperative that your car wheels are regularly checked and maintained. Similarly, there are four principles wheels that form the foundation of a happy life. They aren't based on any label we place on ourselves and apply to all, whether we are monks or married, young or old, rich or poor. They are not dependent on nationality, race, gender, or profession either. First wheel is personal life. Second wheel is relationships. Third wheel is work life. Fourth wheel is social contribution. Let's study first wheel, which is personal life. Fourth topic starts here, which is growing through gratitude. We must find positivity in the bleakest situations and live by principle of gratitude. Harry asked Arthur, you said traffic of mind. What mind exactly mean? Author replied, the mind is what we use to perceive the world. We don't see things as they are. We see things as we are. Like your sunglasses. When you wear sunglasses, the way you see the world changes. Things once looked bright now look dull and lifeless. The things haven't changed, but our perspective has. Harry said, but things do change over time. My wife and I have become entirely different people. Author replied to Harry, I agree, things change for better and for worse. But what we choose to perceive is up to us. And that is a personal choice. Do we see a positive or negative in a situation? Author gives his personal example to Harry. Once in a ashram, author stormed into the room of his spiritual guide, Radhnath Swami, and whispered, it's all changing. Author had explained to his guide every grievance he had with the management of temple and many people who wronged him. Author continued, if we do nothing about all this, everything will be spoiled. Author spoke almost for 45 minutes. Author's guide Radhnath Swami replied, there are so many positive things happening in our community. For the next 45 minutes, author's guide did not mention even a single problem that author made. He only focused on positives, uplifting author's mood. Author's guide continued. He is aware that problems do exist, but real problem is that when negativity consumes the mind, not only we lose vision to see beautiful things around us, but also ability to solve the problems that confront us. We have to train our mind to focus on the positive and feel empowered to deal with the negative. Author's guide provided author practical solutions for all his problems and instructed author to go for lunch with all other monks in the dining hall. We all go through real challenges for which solutions should be found. But what author's guide taught him was the power of having a positive state of mind whilst dealing with problems constructively. Author realized that the miracle of positive thinking lasted at least for an hour until lunchtime, and the state of mind developed over time. When we are disgraced and all lost, we should count our blessings one by one, and that will surprise us with all that Lord has done for us. Harry asked author, so gratitude is the key to remaining positive and happy? Author replied, yes, certainly. It's not the happy people who are grateful, it's the grateful people who are happy. Harry said, he can think of things he should be grateful for, but that's not the case for everyone. He knows people who have been going through hell and back, whether it's losing loved ones or being disease stricken. How can they be grateful? Author replied, yes, Harry, you are right. It's hard to be grateful in such situations, and we must be careful while explaining this principle to others. Gratitude has many layers. One layer is incurable. We know cancer is the worst disease we can think of. Cancer is primarily a disease of old age, with more than 60% of all cases diagnosed in people aged over 65. However, one of author's friend's daughter, Gandhavika, of just 4 years old, was diagnosed with fastest growing tumors in humus, Burkitt lymphoma. One day, Gandharvika's stomach started paining a lot, so his father took her to hospital. Doctors said that Gandharvika needs to be under constant observation as her situation is critical. My friend and his family were for 6 months in the hospital. At that time, my friend's father used to cook for his friend and family. Neighbors used to take author's friends rescue children to their homes and take care of them so that they will not miss their family. They used to celebrate Gandharvika's birthday in hospital even if she can't be at home. Likewise, the support author's friend got from all people around helped him to forget pain and be with his lovely daughter Gandharvika all the time. Gratitude that my friend has received from the community guided him and family, helping heal his wounds. My friend is always grateful to the community. Gandharvika is still alive, laughing and playing. Those who are grateful are not immune to distress. Gandharvika's father had a deep connection to the quality of gratitude. We need to practice gratitude if we want to be like him. Even in times of difficulty and sorrow, we can feel inner strength when we are grateful for support of caring friends and family. Fifth topic begins here. Praise pause. Author says to Harry, stop and reflect on your life regularly. Pressing the pause button to practice gratitude is the way to make it a constant in your life. If we do not press pause, how many beautiful moments of our life are we missing? The ways to start practicing gratitude are to recognize the good that has been done unto us and say thank you, to remember the good and mean it, and to reciprocate through actions of giving back and lying by the same values. Gratitude is not merely an emotion, it is a way of life which can be learned and practiced. We must prioritize the time to practice gratitude, and one of the many ways to do it is by writing a gratitude log daily. Sixth topic starts here. Why worry? When things are beyond your control and there is nothing you can do, why worry? Author says to Harry that we must ask ourselves one basic question. Do we have a problem in life? If no, then why worry? If yes, ask yourselves another question. Can you do something about it? If yes, then why worry? If no, then why worry? Harry looks relieved when he listens to author. Author continued, the founders of WhatsApp, Brian Acton and team, did not get jobs at Twitter and Facebook when they applied, which worked out in their favor in the future. Hence, what we see as bad at one point can turn out to be the best thing to happen to us. Sometimes, when we get engrossed in a problem, we feel trapped in our own minds. In that state, we constantly think about our issues. A spiritual process gives us ability to come out of this mental loop and helps transform the greatest difficulties into opportunities. And seventh topic begins here. Spiritual practice. Author explains to Harry that spiritual practice is the foundation of our happiness. It guides us in times of turmoil and grounds us in times of joy. We are not human beings having spiritual experiences. We are the spiritual beings having human experiences. We are not this body. We are a spiritual being. We need to understand the hierarchy of connections. Ultimately, we must connect to something above ourselves, such as God. This can give us power to spread happiness and joy around the world. There are many ways to connect to God. We may have our own, which is great, and we should go deeper into it. One of the most effective methods that has worked really well for author is mantra meditation. Second wheel is relationships. Eighth topic starts here. Speaking sensitively. We should deal with each other sensitively. Our attitude towards life affects how we act in our relationships. Harry said to author, "It is just my wife and me are constantly fighting. My wife always wants to change things about me, and I end up leaving the room when she starts her suggestions." Author said to Harry, "This happens with all relationships, not just in marriages. If we are not proactive in our relationships, they start to seem dry and become cumbersome. We have to have respect for the other person, which is reflected in how sensitively we treat them." Harry says to author, "You are right. In conflicts with my wife, maybe I have role to play. Maybe I am being insensitive to her." Author replies, "At times we incite the response that people give us. We also need to improve things about ourselves. Let's talk about how we can see the positive in our relationships. How do we practice being sensitive? We must treat even an inanimate objects with consideration and respect. If we do not, then the mentality of insensitivity may become a part of our general attitude. One's impact or general attitude does not discriminate between things and people. Treating things badly can affect our attitude negatively, which may percolate into our relationships." Ninth topic begins here. A virtuous vision. Author speaks to Harry that there are many ways to perceive others. We should start choosing the one which magnifies the positive and avoids the negative. Seeing the best in people can be challenging at times, especially when we are in constant proximity to them. We can perceive people in the following 5 ways. First, see only bad and magnify it. Second, see good and bad, neglect the good and focus on the bad. Third, see good and bad and be neutral to both. Fourth one, see good and bad, choose to focus on the good and neglect the bad. Fifth one is see the good and magnify it. The ideal state is the fourth stage in which one's relationships flourish. Here, we should see good and bad and choose to focus on the good and neglect the bad. Reaching the fourth stage takes consistent hard work and practice. 10th topic begins here. Correcting cautiously. Author states Harry that corrective feedback can make or break our relationships. Saying things in anger damages our relationships. Hence, we should try to avoid doing so. If we need to give corrective feedback, we should invest tons of practice and trust into a person before doing so. Corrective feedback is an art. It has 4 principles. Ask yourself, am I the right person to give corrective feedback? Do I have the right motive to give corrective feedback? Do I know the right way to give corrective feedback? Is it the right time? The smooth implementation of these 4 principles takes time because giving corrective feedback insensitively has become an addictive habit for many. 11th topic begins here, which is forgiveness. Author tells Harry, forgiveness is a complex concept. We must understand it thoroughly to be able to internalize it. Forgiveness warms the heart and cools the sting. It is a choice that each of us has to make for ourselves to save our relationships and achieve peace of mind. There are few things we should remember in practicing forgiveness. First one, look beyond the situation. If we are hurt by someone's words, try to understand why they spoke them. When people act harshly towards us, most of the time they are suffering too. This is empathy. Second, separate the episode from the person. Rather than being affected by the emotion of guilt by saying I am wrong or anger by saying you are wrong, we should separate the I or the you and deal with the wrong. Third one, higher purpose. Can we forgive based on a higher purpose, higher principle? If we love someone, we should forgive our small fights or disputes with them. Fourth one, justice. On a personal level, we can forgive the person who may have wronged us. But on a social level, there should be strict justice to create an orderly society. No one should be able to break the law and get away with it in the name of forgiveness. So, we should remember these four principles while practicing forgiveness. 12th topic is association matters. Author explains to Harry that our relationships are stronger when they contain a spiritual component. Our association is powerful. It can uplift us or bring us down. General interactions are dealings meant to do the needful and are simply neutral. Intimate dealings are built through the exchange of things, food, thoughts, values, and belief systems. Our life cycle is affected more by another person's value systems than their habits. Harry says to author, yes, I agree with you. Association really matters. 13th topic is competition crossroads. Harry says to author, at my workplace, we need to complete projects together with our colleagues. But there is also air of competition. How can I get rid of that? Author elucidates Harry that at work we tend to compare and compete with others instead of comparing and competing with ourselves. Many of the times, some people try to show other people low and perform unhealthy competition. We should never perform such unhealthy competition. There are two causes of unhealthy competition: being envious of someone or uncontrolled ambition. We compete with people who have the same skills or outlook in life as us. When another person's skills have no bearing on our life, we rarely feel threatened. Competition is found in all spheres of life. Some examples include sports, business, politics, and the workplace. Healthy competition is about competing with ourselves rather than others to become a better version of ourselves. There will always be workplace politics, but we should learn how to manage it in a clean way. Then 14th topic starts here, which is self-discovery. Harry thanked author for his insights and asked author, what do you think is the key element needed for self-improvement and competition with ourselves? Author replies, to find your purpose in life, you must go on a journey of self-discovery. If there is one thing that I think is the foundation of growth, it is understanding who you are. You can only compete with yourself if you have a clear idea of your potential, your capacities, and certainly your limitations. We should understand ourselves to know what is meaningful to us and what we want to devote our time to. This can be done by understanding our purpose, which takes dedication and patience. Discovering our purpose is exciting, just as opening a gift gives the feeling of anticipation and joy. Reaching our purpose in life is a journey, not an event. The Japanese have a model called Ikigai, or a reason to live, which is composed of four traits we need to understand. What we what do we love? What are we good at? What does the world need? What can we be paid for? We should understand these four traits early in our life. We should love what we have to do and do what we love to do. 15th topic begins here, which is decoding spirituality at work. This chapter clears the many misconceptions about spirituality, that spiritualists are not ambitious, that spiritualists will get walked over at the workplace because of their values, and that we should not aspire for the nicer things in life. Harry asked author, "So you are telling me to find my purpose. How can spirituality help?" Author replied, "Spirituality helps declutter your mind. This clarity gives you the ability to understand your purpose at a deeper level. You don't have to become a monk like me to practice spirituality." "That's what Lalita, my wife, is afraid of," Harry chuckled. "She thinks if I get too involved, I will also shave my head and join the monastery." "We don't have any room for you anyway," author joked. Harry said, "It's not just Lalita. Many people think that if you practice spirituality, your ambition to achieve is compromised. You become satisfied, zen like you." Author asked, "Do I look satisfied?" Harry replies, "Yes, sort of. I know you are busy, but don't you think you would have been more ambitious if you did not practice spirituality? I am sure some of your friends are now millionaires in America." It was slightly cutting remark, but author was used to it. Author explains to Harry that there are many misconceptions when it comes to being a spiritual minded person and being successful in the world. One is that spirituality kills our ambitions and zest to achieve. This is false because spirituality just changes our motive to achieve. It makes us want to be hugely successful so that we can have resources to help others. The story of Krishna and Arjuna in Gita explains more. Fight and achieve to help others, but be internally content in your personal life. Another is that spiritual people get walked over in business because of their values. The story of the sage and the snake describes how we should stick to our values but be meticulous and straightforward in business. Though we can make as much money as we desire and use it to serve, we should be wary of its potential to distract us from our purpose. 16th topic is integrity and character. Spirituality helps develop good character. It is character that shines bright when words fail to do so. Harry asked author, "What motivates people to act righteously and take action?" Author replied, "People are touched more by what we do than what we say. We feel inspired by those who live with the right conduct, character, and integrity, that is sadachar in Sanskrit. Good character has ability to change lives. It has to do with our actions, not our words. The principles of developing character are: first one, vichar, the life philosophy we follow. We must learn from it. Second one, achar, the action based on that philosophy. We must do it. Third one, prachar, the good conduct that is displayed to the world through those actions. We must practice it. What great men do, common men follow. Finally, Arthur and Harry reached temple. Arthur thanks Harry for driving him all the way from Harry's home to temple, and of course for lunch. Arthur asks Harry if he wants to come inside. Harry says yes to Arthur's request and enters gate of the ashram. Harry suddenly says to Arthur, "What was the fourth wheel?" Arthur says, "Maybe we'll leave that for another time. I will have to come back to your house for world-class sambar again." Harry says, "We will feel insulted if you don't come." In between, Harry's phone rings and it was his wife's number popping up. Harry picks up phone and answers phone. "Hello, how are you? Why didn't you pick up earlier?" "Hello," replied a male voice on the other side. "Who is this?" Harry said, alarmed. "Mr. Iyer, this is Dr. Shah from Breach Candy Hospital. Your wife Lalita is in hospital. You should come." The phone cut off. Harry dropped his phone on the floor, his face pale. Arthur asked Harry, "What was that?" Harry replied with tear in his eyes, "Lalita, my wife Lalita is in the hospital. There is something wrong. I have to go now." Harry ran towards his car. Arthur picked Harry's phone and ran after him. 17th topic begins here, which is selfless sacrifice. You can be completely selfish, completely selfless, or any of the combinations in between. Life is a journey from being selfish to become selfless. Harry reached car and said to Arthur, "You don't have to come, please. Thank you so much for all your time. I am sure you must have so much to do." Arthur said to Harry, "I am sorry, but I am coming with you, whether you like it or not." Arthur can see Harry's face was filled with tears. Harry asked Arthur, "What was Will 4? Arthur said to Harry, "Will 4 has to do with being selfless and making a social contribution. But let's talk that another time. Let's focus on reaching your wife, who I am sure is doing perfectly fine." Harry nodded in agreement and focused on the road. When Arthur rested his hand on Harry's shoulder in silent consolation and thought of how Harry at that moment was representing Will 4 to be selfless and to give back, Arthur continued, "The philosophy of an ice cream is enjoy it before it melts. The philosophy of a candle is give light to others before it melts. In order to be happy, we should shift our attitude from being an ice cream to a candle, from being a selfish to selfless. This is shown through our service to others. We must be wary of compassion fatigue. This means we must have all our wheels balanced as we try to help others. This is the principle of being selfishly selfless." Arthur continued and told Harry, "Don't worry, Harry. Everything is going to be fine. See how much love you have for your wife. Harry gave author half a smile in gratitude and then focused on the road again. 18th topic begins here, which is family first. The first step in selflessness is to practice it with our family. Author believes that selflessness starts at home with the ones we love the most. Are we doing what we can to help them? Relationships at home can work well only if all parties have low expectations of each other but high expectations of themselves to help the other. At this moment, Harry was an example of serving the one you love. Author remembers example of Lata Khare, a 65-year-old Maharashtrian woman from a small village, Baramati, ran marathon to save her husband in order to get money for her husband's operation, and she finally won the marathon. The crowds on the streets of Baramati clapped for her and celebrated her victory. She was a local hero, but she did not care for the attention. At the same time, she got a few bandages for her feet. Her only motive was to save her husband. As they say, the most powerful force in the world is love. Author wanted Harry to tell this story, but it was not the right time. Harry's situation was similar to Lata's. Just as she ran to help her love, Harry was doing everything he could at that moment to help his wife. Selflessness starts with our family, but it should not just end there. To expand our circle of selflessness, we should help those outside of our immediate care and affection too. 19th topic starts here, which is the nation narrative. We can increase our scope of selflessness beyond our family by serving our community, city, or even nation. This is shown by the heroic efforts of the soldiers who keep us safe and civil servants who help run our nations. Harry and Arthur had arrived at the hospital. Harry asked Arthur, "What if she doesn't make it? What if my wife Lalita is taken away from me?" Arthur said nothing to Harry and gave him a hug. 20th topic begins here, which is service brings joy. In Sanskrit, service is called seva. Adding a spiritual element to our seva can make it more fulfilling. Harry entered hospital and asked receptionist, "We need the room number for Lalita." While receptionist was busy attending phone, Harry asked to one of the doctor if he know where is his wife Lalita Iyer. Doctor replied, "Are you Mr. Iyer?" Harry said, "Yes, I am Mr. Iyer, Lalita Iyer's husband." Doctor replied, "I am Dr. Harshil Shah. We spoke on the phone earlier." Harry asked, "Where is Lalita? How is she doing?" Doctor said to Harry, "Please follow me, sir. We are just running some tests." Doctor took Harry and Arthur to the first floor of the hospital. Doctor asked both of us to wait for some time before they called to see Lalita. Harry put his hands together and started praying. Dr. Shah then called Harry, saying, "Harry Iyer, Lalita is now well enough to see you." Harry replied to doctor, "What was the problem? Will she be okay? Where is she?" Harry went down to the corridor into a room where his wife was. Arthur has waited outside. Arthur has noticed doctor speaking kindly to the patients. This reminded Arthur of selfless service, that is seva by doctors to the world. Arthur was thinking about the worst that could happen to Mrs. Lalita Iyer and prayed that his mind's conjuncture be incorrect. Dr. Shah said to author Mr. Das, Mr. Gaurgopal Das, Harry and Lalita would like to see you in their room. Author went into the room. Lalita was lying down on the bed and Harry was by her side holding her hand while sitting on a small stool. Harry said to author, "We have some news to share with you." Harry let Lalita take over. Lalita said, "Harry and I have been trying for a child for a long time. And today I got the news that the intense morning sickness I was suffering is actually a good sign. Harry and I are expecting a child." Author breathed a huge sigh of relief and joined Harry, his mother, and Lalita, congratulating them profusely as they smiled and laughed uncontrollably. The hospital, which had seemed dark and dreary just moments ago, a place of death and disease, was now transformed into a place which was offering a new life. The flavor of the joy author tasted in the hospital room that day was out of this world. It was unmatchable, second perhaps only to one other, Lalita's incredible sambar. I hope this summary of the book will help everyone to understand life's amazing secrets and live life happily and to its fullest. If you like the video, do like, share and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.